Your mom's gotta go.
Oh, she's family.
Like daughter, like mother.
Well, what is that supposed to mean?
She's using my Old Spice moisturizer for shea butter for impossibly smooth skin, and she's wearing my robe. It's bad enough you use up all my body wash, now her.
We're out.
Celebrate this summer with the new BLT Ranch Angus Thick Burger from Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. Feed your appetite. So what's the score? Guys offering $10,000 to turn you in. I have a proposition for you. Let's go.
You think you the only one that can make a move? I can make a move too.
Why are you doing this?
Because I'm going to get what's mine.
Same old place that you laughed about. Welcome back, America. It sure is good to see you.
I'm really nervous. I don't know what I should wear. Just wear something not too crazy. Remember, it's a business dinner, not a costume party.
On the Spotty Network, this is what she heard.
Just wear something crazy. Remember, it's not a costume party.
Don't trust first impressions to just any network. Go with T-Mobile, the crown jewel of 5G.
Anybody want to split a turkey leg?
Moment we have all been waiting for. You get told you're too young. You're too small. We're underdogs. That's why you have to bet on yourself. We bet on ourselves every time we step out that curtain. Never takes what I'm gonna have to do. Don't miss AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite at 8 on TNT. This isn't good. I want to see it.
Deep breaths.
is a force off the bench. The other night, 7 of 12, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. He's played well throughout the series. Look at Nathan Billings and the Hawks right now. Oh, Bogdanovich, the lone starter on the floor here. Going deep in his bench. It's Tucker for three. DJ Tucker with the corner three. He's 3 for 3 from the field. 8-14. Coming from a guy who has struggled with his offense in this series. 3 minutes to go. First quarter. Red shot and drive. Many moves that the Hawks have made. Games of the year deserve the biggest prizes of the year. They found it was free play under game. A chance at $100,000 for every TNT broadcast video picks at FanDuel.com/. Juice here from guys that haven't seen a lot of playoff action. Reddish, Dunn. You gotta just slow down and let the game come to you. A lot of emotions running out here again. No Trae Young tonight because of the bone bruise. To the right ankle. Nathan Billings going deep into his bench. Giannis back on the floor on 3 reps. Looking for Donovan. Let's go.
This guy's a dick.
Introducing the new City Custom Cash Card, a different kind of card that rewards Rashida where her spending is trending. Just ask overly confident DIY Rashida.
Wait, is this the right wall?
Or last-minute gift shopping, Rashida?
I'm putting a bow on it.
Even sneaking away for a vacay, Rashida?
I earned this, okay?
From home improvement, drugstores, select travel, and more. Earn 5% cash back that automatically adjusts to your top eligible spend category. Up to $500 spent each billing cycle.
What is George Foreman's net worth?
According to Celebrity, less than B greater than net worth, less than B greater than. George Foreman net worth. George Foreman is a retired American boxer and highly successful entrepreneur who has a net worth of $300 million.
George Foreman has a net worth of $300 million. Jesus criminy. When boxers all lose their money, George kept it all. Good for him.
Tonight's matchup, me versus the lovely Bender Bender. If I can eke out a win, it's going to be a miracle, baby.
Mr. Vitale, it wouldn't be a miracle because Geico gives you a team of experts to help you.
I don't know what that thing's going to be worth. We'll see. Oh. Weird. Weird music. Weird music. Oh, I see. You're learning Russian. Okay. Well, the way this country's going under Biden, you should learn Russian. See, this is what happens to you all day long. See, here's good because I think it's a joke too. Okay, I do. I don't even know, man, because you know why? I'll tell you why. Because you've heard the shit all day long. Oh my God, man! They'll come up with anything, won't they? That's fucked up. That's funny, actually. You wait a minute. You're giving a conservative cues in Russian. It's hilarious. Why? Spanish is cool. Yeah. Corato. Yeah. Wow. Duh. Man. Wow, man. Damn. Hey. Yeah, no. Hey, you should just go like this. Hey, Wayne. Like your Cheech. Hey, Wayne. Hey, man. You 5 seconds, Wayne. Hey, Wayne, my cousin's on Wick. Is that okay with you? Hey, Wayne, my cousin just got her WIC card. You all right with that? Hey, I just got my benefit package, Wayne. Thank you. Yeah, right. That's what you do. You tell them, hey, Wayne, you make money, right? Hey, thanks for my benefits. Yeah. Hey, my third wife, man, she's in line for her WIC check. I can't believe people think like that. It's crazy. I bet that went over well. Wow. Okay. Oh, I love to be brought on the air like this. Dan Sileo USA Radio Network. How are you doing today? Okay? Are you in a good mood? I sure hope so. Buckle up, sit up, listen up. Here we go. Man, I'll tell you something. I just was talking to my guy, Chris O. Do the average Americans sit around and really care what's going on around the world right now? Or in America? I'm talking like Washington. Did you actually hear today somebody was blaming climate change on that building falling in South Florida? These are actual news people that are saying that climate change had something to do with that building falling in South Florida. I turned the channel immediately and I went to the Looney Tune channel. They made more sense. I'm like, where are you coming up with this? And by the way, how about this? If a credited person came to me and said, Dan, the ocean levels are changing South Florida's landscape, and it's causing instability in the southern region of the state, I'm going to stand up and listen. But when you have an anchor doing this, do you think there's anything to do with climate change? I mean, some of these people that are on the air are bubbleheads. You're like, where are you getting this from? Are you making all this stuff up about the vaccinations too? By the way, I've said this before about people in vaccinations. Dude, just get it. What's the big deal? You've already had 16 of them in your life. Nobody's anti in this country. Why do people have to make political stances out of a mask and vaccinations? Who cares? Dude, every 2 years and every 4 years, you get to change the landscape of this country's political view and how we see our country and what direction we want our country to go in. It's in our hands. You don't like what's going on? Hey, man, we got a midterms coming up. By the way, I do agree with the Republicans on this one. I think some people are going to be in for some really, how about this, rude awakenings. I do. Oh, I do. Oh, I'm telling you, I do. Because there's too much BS out there. You see what the Democrats are starting to do now? They're starting to say that it was the Republicans that were really in favor of defunding the cops with crime raising in America. You're like, you're not going to pull that one over on Americans. They heard you all last summer. It's not true. That is not true. And everyone knows it. But then again, it's to my point. You're like, okay, so wait a minute here. Do you really believe anything you're hearing on radio or TV any longer? When you look at the local and national polls on people who like look at politicians or look at the news media, do you know that no American in this country, like I would say, I shouldn't say no American, but do you know that only 20% of Americans believe what's on the news? Think of that. Like, you're lower than the lowest people on the planet when it comes to credibility. I'm talking about the news media. People will say and do any. You know, I was talking with, and I was kind of jesting with Chris before we went on the air. But, you know, people say anything nowadays. And you know what? And maybe, and Chris, I know you know this, and I know everyone out there listening to us knows this. You know, back in the day when you said something that was BS and you said something that was not true or something that misled the public, and we were on the air and we had some like job where you were an update guy or you're doing a show, you had to go into your program director's office and clarify and justify what you said on the air, especially if you were just spewing non-facts. Nowadays, you know what? Nobody cares unless it's not a conservative's view. If it's a liberal's view, nobody cares. You can say whatever you want. But if it's a conservative's view, I don't really like the vaccinations. You're going to get a call into the program director's office. You're going to be told, hey, lay away from the vaccine. Watch this. Everyone knows this. Major companies right now, lay away from the vaccination. Stay away from that, okay? Stay away from the elections on it being like, you know, it not being validated that Biden won. Stay away from that. You're being told that. Do you know this? You are actually being told this, to stay away from those topics because you don't want to have the cancel culture coming after your company. They do. That's why I sit here and I start laughing at all of you. By the way, both sides. You guys are all idiots. All of you that buy into anything without doing your own research. Hey, should I get a vaccination? How about this? Is that something that I truly want to make a political stance on? My health. I'm gonna pass on that one. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pass on that one. If it comes down to my health, well, I'm gonna make a stance here. Yeah, but you may die from this. Well, I'm going to make a political stand. I'm going to kind of pass on that one. I'll leave that to the next idiot. It's mind-numbing when you tune on the news. I tune it on for about 7 minutes just to get updated on what's going on. And I almost want to throw up in my mask. Dare I say that? It's just so thankful. Oh, my guy Chris calls it the happy hour of radio here. He's probably like, please get to sports. I don't blame him. He's right. Let me start it here with something that we started last night with. So it's been 24 hours since Scottie Pippen came out and called Phil Jackson a racist. And now it's really picking up steam because now we're finding out why Pippen is doing this. Scottie's got an autobiography coming out. And what happens traditionally when you have an autobiography coming out? You lie to sell it. It doesn't matter. Look at Cuomo. Cuomo made millions on telling everybody that he was like the coronavirus king of New York and telling everybody he saved lives when in the end, he lied about doing that. So you will say anything to sell the book, and that's what Pippen is doing. So he called Jordan selfish. Okay, well, tell me something I don't know. Usually people that are like that, Michael Jordan, have a selfish tone to them. Okay? You think you're the best. You think you can win. You think you can do anything that's going to help your team win a championship. Yeah, okay. You're going to have a narcissist mentality. What superstar guy doesn't have that? What leader doesn't have that? What business executive doesn't think he can save a company? Ego, if harnessed, can be used in the right line. And you can use it to fuel your achievements, your desires. So I don't have a problem with that. But Scottie Pippen calling Phil Jackson racist has picked up a lot of steam. Now, I will say this. Scottie Pippen is probably very butthurt over the Last Dance that came out last year that Michael Jordan put out. He's probably very hurt by it. And that's the retort here, this book that's coming out in the next month. Because remember, I don't really think Scottie Pippen was depicted all that well in The Last Dance. He was depicted as soft. He was depicted as somebody who cried a lot. He was depicted as a teammate that wasn't really a great teammate. Scottie Pippen is clearly showing you that he was an awful teammate. And that Scottie Pippen had a problem being Robin. I tell people this all the time. Would you have a problem in your life being considered one of the top 20 players in the world, winning 6 NBA championships, playing on one of the greatest dynasties in the history of American sports, the Chicago Bull dynasty? Would you have a problem with that? Who has a problem being Scottie Pippen? Please give me that all night long. Lou Gehrig was Scottie Pippen. Let me give you another one here. Jerry Rice was Scottie Pippen to Joe Montana and Steve Young. Kobe Bryant, in some aspects, was a Robin to Shaq on that Laker dynasty that won 3 in a row. Are you okay with those guys? I'm okay with Lou Gehrig. I'm okay with Jerry Rice. I'm all right with that. But Pippen is butthurt because people look at him as soft and not a good teammate. These last 2 days, he's actually accentuated what people thought. You know, I actually thought Scottie Pippen over these last couple decades has actually softened how people really thought of him. Trevor on my Twitch page just basically said this: Scottie Pippen is a forever bitch. He's right. We thought of that back then of Scottie Pippen. He's right. The decades kind of softened that, but now he's back to being Scottie Pippen. Pippen said the shot, and by the way, you know the shot he's complaining about that Phil drew up for Tony Kukoc? Well, this just in, Tony Kukoc actually made that shot, that game-winning shot. Now, look, I'm going to flip this a little bit, and I'm going to go on the side of Pippen for just a second because I'm trying to get his perspective on this. You got to remember something. What was happening in the NBA at the time? There was a massive influx of the European player that was starting to come into the NBA. And there was a notion in New York that the college ranks were not producing enough white players. They wanted to get more white players. So what did they do? They started recruiting the European player. And they started to becoming prevalent in the NBA. They were all over like they are now. It's a common theme to have European players in the NBA, right? Well, it was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And many of the African-American players that were in the NBA were saying, okay, here's a way for the NBA to bring white players into the sport. If you're a black player, you could see that perspective. Well, they want to get white faces in the sport. And they went the European style. So, and let's not forget something else on Tony Kukoc. When Jerry Krause, the then general manager of the Bulls, signed Tony Kukoc, there was 1 or 2 years that Kukoc actually made more money than Michael Jordan. He clearly made more money than Pippen. And Tony Kukoc was Jerry Krause's guy. So as an African-American in that time, you could basically see a little bit of what Pippen was saying. I want to expand on this more because this also goes into Aaron Rodgers, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. This book that's coming out is really making some waves. We'll expand on it. We'll hit on it. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Huh? Oof. A leotard? A dude in a leotard. Okay. It's like officially a nut hugger. Okay. Wow. Be like, tuck your balls in. What? Vitas, was it Sabonis? Barcelona? Oh, yeah, that was a great story, dude. Yes. Well, see, the problem with that would be the infrastructure. See, we just had a 9/11 when it came to economic resources. And so, we had to call the Treasury and, putting those stadiums together, dude, just is not like, oh, that's a good call, man. We're going to have to get the defense team up to par and up to snuff here because, and there's these giant coconuts too that give me the DEFCON. This just in, we have a programming note. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals will be on the UPN network. Oh, wait, that's defunct. The WB network. Congratulations to you. Nobody's watching it because NBC hates it. NBC's not even caring. American Ninja Warrior Part 17 was on last night, and I think it was tape delayed. Okay? It was like something that was 3 years old. I'm making that up. But hey, it might as well be. Holy cow, man. Yeah, performing now on the WB network will be the Canadians versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. What a train wreck. Gary Bettman, you suck. You do. The commissioner of the NHL sucks. I mean, if you were good, how about this? Think about how dumb this is. So they cut a TV deal with new network partners next year, right? ESPN, right? Turner, right? Okay. So they decide to go forward with this package, going forward, knowing full well NBC was not going to give a you-know-what crap. Sure, all right, let's go there. About your NHL finals. So you just go through it. They don't promote it. Guess what? I haven't seen one commercial spot for the NHL Stanley Cup Finals on the network at all. And you know what I did? I looked for it all day. There wasn't one promotional commercial spot for the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. If I asked 25 people when game 2 is, I bet you all 25 wouldn't know. You're not trying to get guys like me and Chris O to watch game 2 because we will. We're P1s. P1s in our business, folks, are people that are always going to be there. That's your core group of people that listen to you or watch whatever you're selling. What you're trying to do is get P3s, the outlier people. See, when I do a radio show or I do a streaming show, I'm not trying to get the hardcore guys. I'm trying to service the hardcore guys because that's my true core audience. But I'm trying to get outlier. If I go into the weeds, start talking too technical, and do all the stupid sports stuff with batting averages and points per game and stuff, you lose those P3 people because P3s are people like, oh, what's going on in the NBA Finals? What's going on in the NHL Finals? They're not really hardcore NHL fans. They're just kind of like, what do you call them? They go with trends. And what's trending? Oh, this Michael Jordan guy. Everybody's talking about him. Oh, is he the guy with the sneakers? Oh, let me what? You're trying to attract those people. Those are the people you want. When you sit around every day taking the calls from the same dudes all day long and the same people all day long, that's not awful, but I don't want to talk to the same people every day. Not me. No, thank you. I'm trying to get a new audience. I'm trying to get younger audience. So I'm trying to talk to everybody. Fun, laugh, inform, all of that. The NHL right now has no visibility. All right, hey, Don't forget, my friends, podcasterwarehouse.com. Do me a favor. Go to this great website. If you're looking to build a home studio, they've got everything for you. Microphones, headphones, everything. Earbuds. Use the promo code Sileo, S as in Sam, ILEO. That's SILEO. Shipping is free. You can spend as much as $5, $5,000. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. I want to hit more on this Pippen conversation with him calling Jackson a racist and the Washington team thing. Daniel Snyder's the worst owner in sports. I'll explain. We'll do it next. Yeah, but I don't need an anchor going. Do you think it's climate change, just bubble heading it without going like this? Do you think that the rising tide wait a minute. Well, here, know this. The rising tide in the southern part of the state has caused instability because when the rising tide comes, that land shifts down there. And it does, Chris. And it does. And when it shifts like that, that's why you have to have more infrastructure on those older buildings because they're moving constantly down there if the tide is coming in. And from what I'm seeing, it does look like the shoreline, I know this, up near New Smyrna, up near Daytona, the shoreline is shrinking for a reason. Now, is that climate change? Meaning that we now have rising tides? I don't know. I'm not a expert on that. But what I am keeping an eye on, there's a lot of things going up in Antarctica, and I'll tell you, or the Arctic Circle, I should say, is that those gigantic like icebergs are breaking loose and they're coming south and they're creating a rise in the ocean. Like that one gigantic one that broke off down south in Antarctica is going to be a problem for the southern part of the states and for South America. Water's got to go somewhere. So you believe in climate change? Okay. Huh. Of course. I sure hope that we get a leader somewhere that is somebody that inspires both sides to stop and put their arms down. Is that true? Oh, he's saying that. Oh, NSA is spying on him. Come on, Tucker. That's funny. Wow. Wow. I love you, man. I know. Ugh. Must wear you out, dude. Honestly. God, what happened to that? Getting the Cronkite news. You think Cronkite could work today? No. The name. Al Jazeera sounds like Al Qaeda. That's what people tied into it. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. This is a great note that I just got from Trevor here on my Twitch channel. By the way, you can follow me on my YouTube. We do kind of like two shows. We do our national radio show on USA Radio Network, and behind the scenes, you get a chance to watch Chris and I actually watch and listen on how we put our show together, our banner back and forth. And it's pretty common. This is mostly how, well, wait, I'll take that back, because usually hosts don't talk to their executive producers the way Chris and I do, because we're friends too. But Chris will say things into my ear when we're on the air, and he'll give me cues and tell me and remind me of things that, because me, I got like OCD and stuff. He'll go, hey, this topic, make sure you get to it, because we like to close the end of a tease. You start something, you got to finish it. It's called closing out a segment. And so, we do that, but you get a chance to pretty much watch really true professionals do something here. And so if you want to watch us on our YouTube channel or on our Twitch channel, you can. We really appreciate that. You get a chance to come aboard. But Trevor just said something here. I think you'll love this. Just got out from watching Fast 9 in the movie theaters. So nice to do something normal again. Think about that for a second. Going to a movie is now a reward after what we've all been through. Whew, man, that shows you how much these past 18 months have sucked. Being under house arrest, really. And then the politicians and the news media not helping. The news media was just totally torching and lighting everything on fire to make sure that we were more afraid. Posting the deaths and this and that. Man, think about how creepy they were during the coronavirus. All of them. Fox News, CNN. Oh, they were creepy. Creepy people, man. Selling disaster, selling a pandemic. And Trevor's right, man. Being able to go to a movie theater and being able to watch something that, Cokes. They don't serve beer at movie theaters, do they? No, do they? I don't think they serve beer at movie theaters. Get your Coke and your popcorn, right? Get your Skittles or your Raisinets and have you. Just sit there with your family or just by yourself, watch a movie. How cool is that? And people the common things that we used to do and take for granted, I'm really happy to see Americans getting back to that. It's important. Thing that I love to do is I get a chance to banter back and forth and talk about sports again. You get to kind of scratch over a scab a little bit here when we're talking about this Scottie Pippen story. Do you know that this happened? God, this was 98. And Pippen has made it seem like it happened yesterday. When you call somebody a racist, and somebody like Phil Jackson, you better have some context. You know what his context is? Phil grew up and played for a white guy. If you remember right, in that game against the Knicks, Scotty had fired one off the backboard and clinked it. Phil came down, called a timeout, and drew a play up for Kukoc, who was a better perimeter shooter. And actually, Tony made it. But that decision, even though they won, Scotty called it a racist move. You're like, bro, where are you coming from with that? And you won the game. And they won the game anyway. He still complained about it being drawn up for him. And by the way, another comment was, well, don't you think, man, I've been hanging around with Jordan. I've been with Jordan. Don't you think he would have drew up more plays than one play for me instead of giving it to him? He called that racist. Scottie Pippen is the worst ambassador for racism because Scottie Pippen is a race baiter. And everything that he sees is racist to him because he's been conditioned this way. Scottie Pippen is worth $65 million. I don't know. That's a pretty damn good living as far as I'm concerned. $65 million. Doesn't seem like anybody was held down or held back there, does it? It's like Don Lemon telling me that America is such a racist country. Dude, this guy's got 5 homes and he lives in Martha's Vineyard and he takes a helicopter to work. I don't know if anybody's holding him down either. Got to be kidding me, right? I don't know. I'm very disappointed that Pippen would scratch over this scab again. And I'm glad to see that people are coming to the defense of Jordan and also Phil Jackson. Let's move on from that because it's a stupid – and something will pop up tomorrow because Pippen will have to start defending himself. And always remember this. Pippen is selling a book. Okay? Yeah. Trevor's like probably had the worst designer for his Nike shoes. They were terrible. I don't even remember. Oh, wait, I do remember one brand that he did have. All right. Let's move on to this. So who do you think the worst owner in American sports is? Who do you think the worst owner is? For me, it's James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks, owner of the Rangers, and owner of Madison Square Garden. This guy is so concerned on what's going on in the stands, what T-shirts people wear. Anytime somebody confronts James Dolan and says, sell the team, James Dolan has him thrown out of Madison Square Garden. The guy's the worst. He's absolutely the worst. Well, there's a contemporary in the NFL. Are you ready? It is clearly Daniel Snyder. How the NFL hasn't taken that football team away from Daniel Snyder blows my mind. You took a football team away from Jerry Richardson, the Carolina Panthers, because you had sexual misconduct going on inside the Carolina Panthers, and you took that team away from one of the most powerful people in the National Football League. That team got taken away from that family because Richardson allowed that kind of behavior to go on inside that organization. Daniel Snyder had that same type of behavior going on. You know, that whole cheerleader scandal, that the cheerleaders were having sex with many of the advertisers of the Washington thing, whatever you want to call that thing, I don't know. And Snyder, get this, instead of being reprimanded, do you know what the NFL owners did? The NFL owners came out and made it so that that guy could buy the remaining minority shares of the team so he could have complete control of the Washington thing. That's how they rewarded him. And now, guess what he's doing? He's pimping a community who was massively hit with the coronavirus for a new stadium. Why in the world would Washington Redskins, or the team formerly known as the Washington Redskins, I'll use a Prince reference, why would those fans reward Daniel Snyder with a new stadium? They gave him FedEx, and get this, everybody told them, if you move the damn team to Landover, nobody will go. Trevor bought tickets last year, I remember. I think they were like $50. $50 to go to an NFL game? Those are 1987 prices. Those are 1987 prices. $70 for club seats? Are you nuts? Do you know what a club seat goes for at the new stadium in LA? $375. $375. And they're selling them for $70. You know why? Because nobody goes to those games. And the Washington team won the NFC East last year, or I should say the NFC least a year ago. It's a train wreck. Snyder has driven one of the Tiffany teams that the NFL's great tradition has had into the toilet and into Chesapeake Bay. He's destroyed the franchise. Now, should the team have changed the name Redskins? Okay, sure. That's fine. You change Aunt Jemima's pancake box. Changing the Redskins name? Sure. Why didn't you name them Warriors or whatever, just to give it? I guess so. Okay? Is it offensive? Listen, I've always said this. If it offends one person, I get it. I'm not going to sit here and debate whether or not the Redskins name should have been changed or not. That's, you get this. For me, if it offends somebody, sure. Okay, for me, I could care less. But that's my perspective. I don't really care about things that don't really have any impact on my life. I don't sit around going like this, well, we should change the Aunt Jemima pancake box. That's not something I do. I'm trying to worry about rent, my bills. I'm trying to worry about stuff. I don't worry about things like that. That's what I was saying when I was talking earlier. Talking about changing like holidays and Columbus. I don't. It doesn't affect me. I don't really care. Dealing with rolling blackouts. That's correct. Especially in Southern California where the Big Cell studios are. Absolutely. Sit around worrying about Aunt Jemima box being changed or the Redskins name. Whatever, dude. I got more important things in my life than to worry about that. But like I said, if it offends someone, sure. Okay, watch this. I'm Switzerland. I don't care. And Snyder it's a cash register. And now he wants a new stadium. Wow. You talk about taking advantage of your fan base and just urinating all over them. Let me have a new stadium. They want to knock RFK down and put a new building there. They should have did that in the first place. Or they should have fixed up RFK. It's in prime real estate. They haven't done anything to that building yet. Do you know that? I don't know the last time that there was a game. I think like an MLS team plays there or something. Okay? I really, you talk about driving a franchise into the toilet. Wow. Is that guy destroyed the Washington team? He wants a new stadium. And there's the NFL and their commissioner who's going to go around now for the next 4 years until these teams get their stadium, holding communities hostage. Buffalo, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. are going to be the 3 locations that need new stadiums. Or guess what? They'll do some type of relocation. The Bears aren't leaving Chicago, but the Bears will leave the city of Chicago and do exactly what the San Francisco 49ers did. They'll move to some place like Santa Clara, which will be somewhere like Wheaton or Glen Ellen or places like that. They'll move on to like the outliers and move into places like that where communities can support with the taxes and bonds on a new stadium. Mike Dick has come out saying Chicago Bears not in the city of Chicago, not there on the lakefront, is ridiculous. Always remember this about Chicago, though. They've never owned their own building. Soldier Field does not belong to the Chicago Bears. Soldier Field belongs to the city of Chicago. And prior to that, where do you think the Bears played? They played at Wrigley. Back in the 60s, they played at Wrigley. They've never had their place. Yes, that's right, Trevor. Arlington Park is where they're talking. Now the Bills want a new building. Why would the Bills need a new building? That's one of the great stadiums. I've played in that stadium. Why don't you just retrofit it? It's funny, get this. That stadium in Buffalo was made the same year Arrowhead was. Have you ever heard the Chiefs asking for a new building? Never. They're in the same building they've been in since they moved the team from Dallas. They've never asked for a new stadium. They've done upgrades on it, but they've never asked for a new one. And now you have Washington, who doesn't deliver anything to their fans. So what will you have? You'll have the commissioner doing the same thing that he did to St. Louis, Oakland, and San Diego. You'll be urinating on every single city official that you possibly can until you get what you want. That's what the NFL does. He's the front man for that. All right. Hey, please check out podcasterwarehouse.com. Headphones, earbuds. Listen, free shipping too when you buy any item here on podcasterwarehouse.com. Headphones and these microphones that they have are quality, top of the line stuff, okay? The headphones the same way. Use the promo code Sileo, S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. That's S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. Podcasterwarehouse.com. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. So Dan Shaughnessy said something very interesting about Cam Newton. He told it to me yesterday. I'll tell you what he said about the upcoming 2021 season. We'll do it next. Love it. Those guys will get spankings. They cross the moat. Because he can't spell. And plus his little fat finger. Remember, he's only got 3. You know the guy that blew his fingers off with the Giants, Jason Pierre-Paul? That's what Godzilla's hand looks like. Ask him where he got that scar across his chin. Yeah, really? It was when I took my fist and punched him in the face and then got my wine glass and cut a little scar in his chin and then drank some Chianti and some fava beans. Oh, yeah. You probably need it anyway. Huh. That's pretty funny when I pulled his nuts off and he doesn't have a set of them, so I don't know what he's talking about. By the way, I have his balls in the back of my car, like those 2 dice that you see back in the day. Tell him he can come get them anytime he feels like it, along with his mom's shoes under my bed. Oh, I take Godzilla very, very seriously. Really? Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to do a nighttime run over there and straighten that guy's ass out again. Trevor just posted Fuzzy Dice. Yo. You'll only know what we're talking about. Okay. No, I don't want to elaborate on that. Okay. No, I do not. Only if you are on my YouTube channel. Fuzzy Dice hanging in the Hummer. Let's go. Yo. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. This just in. Game 2 of the NBA Finals, or excuse me, the NHL Finals, will be on the Whammo channel. We're going to be getting more updates here soon. Yeah. You put the Stanley Cup Finals. And like I've been telling everybody, NBC has not run one promo for the Stanley Cup Finals on the major network. Not one. Okay? Do you think Al Jazeera would even air it? I'll get back to you soon. Holy cow. After the reading of the Quran, we will have the Game 3 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Oh, my God. No, I won't go there. No. Oh, man, what a mess that whole thing is. Yeah, Al Jazeera starring the NHL. Hey, they may actually have more audience than what is on the NBC Sports Nothing. That's what I'm going to call NBC Sports N. It's NBC Sports Nothing. Nobody watches it. Okay? Mike Florio and Chris Sims destroyed that network. And I love Chris Sims. I hate Mike Florio. Mike Florio throws more lies out than anything you see on Twitter. Unbelievable stuff that he throws out. And that show that he thought he was doing, guess what? Has the worst numbers in history. But you know why it stays on? The revenue that he brings off of his website. So, yeah, it's the only reason. All right, let me get to this Cam Newton thing. You know, it's funny when you have a superstar player in your backyard for 20 years, like the Boston Globe and the Boston Herald had with Tom Brady. Don't you think you start to take that for granted a little bit? You see greatness every day. You watch it every year. Don't you think after a while you start doing this? The Patriots win 12 games, you know. Hell, there's franchises. I mean, take a look at the Jets. I can't remember the last time the Jets won 12 ball games. I mean, honestly, Trevor, tell me, find out. When's the last time the Jets had a 12-win season? I don't even believe that Rex Ryan had a 12-win season. When's the last time they won 12 games? Man, maybe when Vinny was there? I mean, like back in the 90s? I can't remember the last time the New York Jets won 12 ball games. So the Patriots did that as an average over 20 years. How insane is that? So I was talking to Dan Shaughnessy from the Boston Globe. What do you make of Cam Newton? He goes, he's not a quarterback. He can't throw. He will not be the opening day starting quarterback. And my point was this. I said, well, yeah, when you're so used to Tom Brady and you're in a position to watch greatness every single day, okay, you know, you get accustomed to seeing greatness. And now he's saying Cam Newton can't play. And that he is just, without a doubt, there's an issue now where that they don't have a starting quarterback in New England. And so Shaughnessy says they're in massive trouble, okay? I think Cam Newton's actually going to have a pretty damn good year. By the way, I just want to give an update here. In the 52-62 game going on with Atlanta winning, Milwaukee Bucks are up 2-1. Giannis just went down. It could be a knee injury. That would end that team's run at potentially winning an NBA championship if he can't continue. Trae Young is out in this game here, this game 4. Wow. That would be pretty amazing if Giannis cannot continue to play. And is that set up for potentially the Suns to win the NBA championship? Man. All right. Pro Football Focus came out with their top 10 quarterbacks. I want to show you how crazy this list is. We'll reset. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Wow, Giannis is badly hurt. This looks bad. 1998. I'm going to write that down. Got it. But be right back. Come on, Joe. You ain't sending shit now. You know what? I'll tell you what, I don't have that money. I'm not doing it down. No, would you tell him, ask him how's it feel to have one nut? Ask him how it feels like going. Ask him how it feels going through life with one nut. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Ask him what I did to his wife. She made me a bologna sandwich, and then guess what? Mrs. Kong is already like, she's already kicked him in the nuts too a few times with her high heels. Oh yeah, yeah. See, Godzilla, because of his like small reach that he has. No, I moved it closer to my mouth for whatever reason. I don't know why. Okay, so like because of his like lack of reach, you can give a great roundhouse to his head because he just has a small reach. And by the way, if you kick him in the back of his head, there's no way that if he falls, can like not bust his chin because of that melon noggin of his. Zilla. Big Zilla. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, really? Let me just say this to you too. You know that gaping gap in her teeth? You're welcome. Why do you think she has a problem with chapped lips all the time? Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Thank you for coming aboard. Appreciate it. Yeah, this injury to Giannis landed weird, man. Trae Young's out for this game 4 also. So, what's funny? LeBron James now will probably go on some sort of diatribe. Look at all the guys getting injured, man. We started the season way too soon. I told everybody we needed more time because, again, all these – no, dude. The reason that you guys are hurt is because you take the entire year off. How many games did we watch this season where NBA guys were doing, what do they call that thing? Load management? What the hell is load management? I told people this before. Load management? What is that? Michael Jordan played 80 ball games as an average for the majority of his career. 80 ball games. Never saw Jordan taking nights off. And I think it's the lack of them playing hard every single night. Look, guys, let me say this to you, and I think this is one of the reasons that you see NFL injuries early on in the NFL season. It's because, you know why? The NFL guys don't practice in two-a-days like they did back in the day when they went to camp for 3 months and got their bodies ready for an upcoming season. They don't do that. Or at least they don't do it like they used to do it. And so you get lower extremity injuries when you don't practice football moves. Hey, and I'm not talking about doing wind sprints and riding on a bike and bench pressing and stuff like that. I'm more talking about getting out there and actually playing football and having yourself prepared. You know, they want to cut down on the preseason. Okay, veteran guys like Brady don't need it. But that doesn't mean the other 90% that are on that team don't need it. Football is a very difficult sport. Most sports are very difficult to play, including baseball. You have to have more skill set. Throw, catch, run, hit. It's a harder sport. I don't think it's as physically taxing as, say, basketball or football or hockey, for that matter. But these guys today, for whatever reason, they just do not prepare themselves like they used to back in the day. Now, I'm sounding like old man on the lawn stuff, and I do not want to sound like that guy because I despise that dude. But at the end of the day here, these guys are just not prepared. There's a preparation issue here in all sports. LeBron's going to try to make the excuse that, well, you know, you have all these injuries because of the start time that we had when we came out of the bubble. Well, I don't believe that. I disagree with that. I think it's because these guys don't play enough basketball to get themselves in shape. Personally, or how about this, to even stay in shape? Because when you take as many games off as these guys take off today, you can get out of condition as fast as anybody. Okay? Staying in shape is one of the hardest things to do, even when you're in season. So this injury to Giannis could be significant because the Bucks have a 2-1 lead in that Eastern Conference Finals. And if he's not able to go and they can get Trae Young back, there's no question that the Hawks are going to make this thing a 7-game series. So we'll keep you updated on that. By the way, before I get into one of the greatest website clickbait sites we have in football, the Pro Football Focus, I want to hit on this thing here with this case that was just legislated by the Supreme Court and was ruled on by the Supreme Court that players that are in college football can make money off their likeness. It looks like the NCAA is now going to throw their hands up and now surrender to the fact that they can't do anything about stopping these players from making money. You see, I was bringing this up a couple days ago that the NCAA was trying to put guardrails up on how players can use their likeness. And the first thing I tweeted out was, well, who's giving them that jurisdiction? That the NCAA could just assume that you could take control of a family's player's likeness. Shouldn't that be left up to the mother or father or to the legal guardian and the player on how they decide how they're going to monetize their likeness? And for the record, if they can. Look, not everybody on these college basketball or college football teams are going to be able to monetize their likeness. Not everybody's a star. You know, the quarterback and maybe some superstar players that are on defense or offense are going to be able to monetize. But for the majority of the kids, they're not going to be. Some second team offensive guard, you think he's going to monetize his likeness to make money? I highly doubt that. And as I've said before, this is how I would make money. And I was thinking about this, and someone asked me how I would make money. Well, because I was a starter on, as my boy Chris O says, the Rockstar Hurricanes, I could have gone to any business in South Florida because I'll flat out tell you now, I did. You know how I got, you know what my job was on a Saturday night after a football game? I'll tell you guys flat out, statute of limitations are up. I parked cars for a guy named Dave Hill at the tourist room. It doesn't exist any longer, and Dave's no longer with us, but he owned a Remax company, and he owned a bar on Saturdays. And you know what I would do? I would go over there. Dave never gave me a cent, but you know what I would do? I'd make $600 or $650 a night for about 2 hours going over there and parking cars. I get these tips from these big-time people. I'd park their car, and I'd make like $600. And that's how I made money in college. I would go over there, and I had it. Back then, that was illegal. You couldn't have a job in college. Imagine that. You couldn't even earn money because they called that an extra benefit because Dave was a booster. And Dave was a former Miami Hurricane, so he was an alum booster, which would have clearly got school in trouble. But most kids, Tony Casillas and I were talking about this the other day, the legendary Oklahoma defensive lineman. He had a job in college too, and he said it on the air with me. Most guys did get paid. And guys like us, we could have went anywhere in those communities back then and just went and said, hey, look, it's Florida State week or it's Gator week. If you want me to come by and like help you sell some cars, or if you want to put me in a commercial, if you want to do like a commercial ad or something, those guys would have just bent over backwards. Can you imagine having a star player in South Florida and you got a Gator week coming up? I mean, those kids are going to be able to make a killing, especially at the big programs. The little programs, they're also going to be able to make money because you know what? In most of those small college communities, you're going to be able to make a lot of money because that's all you have. You think in Oxford, Mississippi, there's a lot of commerce going on in sports. Those Mississippi State kids are going to make a lot of money, and they should be able to make a lot of money. But the NCAA should not be sitting up trying to put guardrails up on how the kids can make money, nor should they be telling you that here's the parameters that you have to work within. That's not what the Supreme Court said. Justice Kavanaugh came out flat out and said, you should have the right to make money off your likeness, and even said as much as the NCAA is not above the law. So they've thrown their hands up, and I'm glad to see that. It is going to be very interesting to see how it is going to be legislated out on some of these schools because USC, Ohio State, Clemson, the rich are going to get richer. I mean, watch this. Hey, how'd you like to come to Alabama and play for Alabama? Which means this. Every single business in those communities, anywhere in the state, and if you're a star in those teams, they're going to hire you to do something. And the money there is incredible. I'm for it. I'm for it. I think what it's also going to do in the process, it's probably going to end some football programs that don't need to be running. You know, the problem that you have at many of these institutions is that you're either a football school or a basketball school. Very few could be both. Think of it for a second here. Unless you're in these big power conferences like the Southeastern Conference, you can't have two programs. But you're somebody like Memphis, okay? Or how about this? If you're SMU in Dallas, you think they can afford a basketball program or a football program? Or what do they want to have? They want to have a football program. Can you name me one guy that's ever gone to the NBA that was an SMU basketball player? I can't think of one. Why should you put your resources into a basketball program? Why? So you can say you have basketball? There's no reason for it. You should put all your economic resources into one. And this is what this is going to do. When kids are being paid, you've got to figure out who you're going to pay. You can't pay both unless you're Alabama, unless you're Ohio State, Clemson. That's why I say the rich are going to get richer when it comes to this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, they're finally getting it now. And this is going to open up a hornet's nest. And let me say this to you also. Do you know that they're projecting that the first year of the college football expanded playoff, the 12-team playoff that they're kicking the can around now this month, do you know what they're expecting the money to be? I want you to hear when I say this number. $70 billion business. Do you know the majority of the money that's generated from college sports is tax deductible? Which means the schools don't pay income taxes on it because they're a state institution. The money that they raise, they don't pay income tax on it. It's like a church. If Texas generates $200 million, Texas don't pay taxes on that. You think they pay taxes on when boosters donate? That's tax deductible. And the school gets it. It goes into the athletic department. And then they divvy it up, mostly to the football program, especially with the Longhorns. Most of that stuff is tax deductible. Do you know actually what's even more remarkable? Do you know what Nick Saban's salary is at Alabama? You'll love this. You know what his actual salary is? It's like $115,000 or $125,000. But do you know what the boosters and all the alumni that kick into the Alabama sports, I think it's called the sports fund. You know what that does? And plus the shoe contract he has, it escalates it to $11 million. $11 million. And the money that they generate to give Nick pays income taxes. Okay? He pays income taxes on the money he makes. The school doesn't pay income taxes on the money they raise, though. It's a scam. It's a gigantic scam. And that's why Congress and everyone's like, you're making all of this. And the benefits, you know, people are talking about now, they're talking about a new tax code for Americans that make over $400,000. That doesn't apply to anybody that works in college football or college basketball. The tax breaks that those institutions get are incredible. That's why they always bend when it comes to politicians, because they can cut off that funding in 10 seconds, or they could start putting a bill up on the House that says this. These guys can't be tax deductible anymore. You know, the NFL used to be tax deductible because they were under United Way. Remember when they used to be under the United Way? No longer. All right. I'll hit on the Pro Football Focus, best clickbait site on the internet. I'll do it next. Right after Electric Company. The Electric Company. It'll be the Cookie Monster. Right. Right after the McLaren report, we will have Game 3 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Even though the dude's doing a dirt nap. I actually love that show. I think I saw that. Yeah. I think it went for 30 grand too. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, did you send that? I got it. Let me see. This brings a good point up here. Your boy Dan Sileo here on USA Radio Network. My boy Chris O just sent me an article from Outkick. This is Clay Travis' website. And Megan Turner is the author here. And the headline is Reggie Miller brings logic into Pippen racism accusations. And I don't roll with is what Reggie Miller is insinuating. Let me read you a little bit of it here. Scottie Pippen held nothing back once again the other day, and this time firing a major shot at a former head coach in Phil Jackson. And now, of Pippen's former NBA contemporaries, has vehemently disagreed with his claims. Reggie Miller never played for the Chicago Bulls. We should put that in context. But he responded to Pippen's implication that Jackson decided to give Kukoc the final shot of a game because of his race. No, Miller said on Monday's episode of the Dan Patrick Show. See, I don't agree with this. There's plenty of times I've been used as a decoy on the Pacers team. There's just times when it was the case that everyone knew and assumed that I was going to be the guy to take the shot. And sometimes you have to be a decoy. The whole racial point, absolutely not. I just don't roll with this. Sportscasting.com reports that Miller made strong points and may be right that Jackson's decision was not racially motivated. But it's hard to know, and here's an underlying thing here on what gives Pippen the benefit of the doubt and not Reggie Miller. It's hard to know because Miller wasn't in the Bulls locker room. That's the number one fact. And here's how this article ends. The article states, there could be things about Jackson no one knows. Now, that's an insinuation that there's something out there maybe. Well, why would you say that? You don't know of anything because no one's ever said anything. So that's a guess. And that could have gone unreported. So you think Michael Jordan has supported a racist over the last 25, 30 years? Jackson and other Bulls have not helped clear up the situation. Okay, let me tell you where also this lands. See, anybody can make a comment about Scottie Pippen's comments. I can make a comment, and I'm just as informed as Reggie Miller is. Let me put it to you this way on why it's important for Steve Kerr or even Michael Jordan maybe to come out. Now, the big question will be, will they? Will they come out in support? Because obviously, Phil Jackson has not said anything yet either. Let me just put it to you here on the side of Scottie Pippen, though. You know that old line, what's said in the locker room stays in the locker room? Let me show you where I think Pippen's coming from here. And you tell me if you agree or disagree on this. Last year, that last dance that Michael Jordan put out, it kind of took you behind the curtain, didn't it? On what went on that final championship year. The contentious relationship between Jerry Krause and Jordan, the craziness of Dennis Rodman, the injury to Scottie, who decided to have a surgery during the regular season. And all of that was shown on that. It was all shown on that documentary. I want to hit up more on this because this is where I think Scottie's coming from. Okay? There may be a side to this that's going to maybe unveil this a little bit more here on seeing Scottie's side. Hey, by the way, do me a favor, please. go to podcasterwarehouse.com. 25% off of everything that's on the website. Shipping is free. Use the promo code Sileo. That's S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. That's S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. Podcasterwarehouse.com. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. We'll reset and keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Let's just always make sure you ask him what happened to his right nut. Agreed. Pretty good. I mean, she's doing very well, and I was always concerned because I asked her, I go, what happened to your back? And she's like, well, after what you did to Godzilla's sister, I had to carry her over to the medical center. And I go, Mom, why would you do that? She goes, well, I'm nicer than you. Mama Kong is always there. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Mama Kong, man. All the little Kongsters know when she's rolling. She's big on grabbing the little Kongster's ears. Oh, yeah. Takes the fly swatter out, too. Just being stupid. Man, Sister Marjorie Fish at Catholic High, man, she used to put like holes in the board so that she could get more wind resistance. And that thing, you can hear it come whistling through the air. Seriously, it was like a tornado. Whoosh! And then all of a sudden, guess what, dude? You're like, holy cow, man, like bees stung you. And she had biceps on her like Arnold. Oh, yeah. No. This Sister Marjorie Fish looked like she was like King Kong Bundy. Oh, no, she was a horse. She used to go like this to Dan Sileo, please report to Sister Marjorie Fish. And everybody in the home room would go, ooh, damn. And I'd be like this too, exactly. Watch, damn. Yeah, I did. He started crying. Yeah, but he did that. I know he did that to save the little Kongsters. It's a great movie. Huh? Cagney too? Yeah. Yeah, he played Newt Rockney too. Yeah. Wow. And you'd have to know the story to go like this. Are you talking about him crashing in Iowa? Wow. Damn. Jesus. Man, Man, you need to go home and do some Hail Marys after that one. Me too. Hey, Father, you mean I only have 3 Hail Marys? I got over. Good call. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Hope you're enjoying the other show we do also on my Twitch and YouTube channel. We really appreciate you coming aboard. Have a lot of fun there. And do me a favor. Don't be so serious. Thank you. Okay? Have fun. Right. Smile. Laugh. Oh, my God. Relax. Just relax. Okay? Like to have some fun. Okay. Now, let me get back to where I was. Chris O sent me a really great article here, and it was in Outkick. This is Clay Travis's website, which, by the way, is one of the absolute top sports websites, and it's really great. It does to the conservative side, obviously, because of Clay's background. So it does lean that way. But, if you have any kind of, it's funny, every time, I mention CNN or I mention, always know this. I do the same thing with Fox News. I take them with a grain of salt too. Like, I don't believe everything they're saying either. You got to kind of somewhere in the middle, it's going to be the truth, as they always say, right? So people lean a certain way to try to get you, and that's what attracts people to certain websites. Look, ESPN is a liberal website when it comes to covering sports. Outkick is a conservative website that covers sports. If you know that going in, you're cool, right? So you know what it's going to be tempered towards. And that's what the majority of these articles are, especially in Outkick. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out or have a Harvard degree. So Reggie Miller, I'm going to read you the headline here, and I'm going to expand on what I was kind of hitting on in the last block. Reggie Miller brings logic into Pippen racism accusations that I don't roll with. These are the headlines. The article is written by Megan Turner, and they go over these claims that Phil Jackson set up a shot for Tony Kukoc because, and I'm paraphrasing here, because he's white, which is so far from the truth. If you remember what happened then, Pippen prior to that shot had missed 2. Kukoc actually made the shot to win the game, and that game-winning shot against the Knicks. He actually made it. So I don't even know what the bitch is on that. You're mad because you didn't get to be the star and he wanted Kukoc to be the star? Do you really think people do that when you're talking about trying to win a game in the last few seconds? Which guy should be the star, the white guy or the black guy? Who does that? I don't know a coach, and especially a coach with 11 championship rings. You think he really dissects it like that? I find that almost impossible to believe, let alone hard to believe. Now, I am going to give you a little bit of something that may land on the side of Scottie Pippen in this whole debate now. Pippen's got a book coming out, and this book is going to be an autobiography, and it's going to basically unveil a lot of his feelings that were displayed in The Last Dance on how he feels. This book coming out is going to be Pippen's version of The Last Dance. Now, remember that Last Dance documentary, I think it was a 10-part series, which got enormous numbers, got tremendous numbers. I think like 7 million people watched that thing a night. It was incredible. It was one of the most watched documentaries. And my time having covered those Bulls teams, I remember pretty much the way it was presented, that it was pretty accurate on how people looked at Michael Jordan and how people looked at Scottie Pippen. So let me say this, though. Scottie Pippen has just gone through a divorce. And let me tell you what I think he's learned going through his divorce with his wife. One of the people in the relationship, when you get a divorce, is going to divulge things that were behind closed doors. And one person is going to try to protect the family name, and one person is not going to care about the family name. I'll give you another example, too. Michael Strahan's estranged wife. She's just been arrested because she has been threatening some of Michael Strahan's old girlfriends and current girlfriend. It was an ugly divorce. She accused him of being a homosexual. She tried to do everything there was to just absolutely throw shade on Michael Strahan's name. Michael Strahan has done very well for himself since he's left the NFL. He hosts Good Morning America as co-host, and he's on the NFL on Fox on Sundays. Michael does a great job. And his ex-wife is just nuts. I'll say it. She's nuts. She's been arrested. There's been a restraining order put on her. Still hasn't done enough to stop her from doing the things that she's doing. Strahan has not said anything about his ex-wife. His ex-wife has gone out saying that he's had these relationships. He did that. You don't know what's true. Michael's trying to protect what was behind closed doors, as Scottie Pippen was with his wife, who's gone out, and she's actually hit on LeBron's son. It's crazy. If she's beautiful too, and it's like she's just out there and she's using Scottie's name. Well, you're going to feel betrayed when you get a little taste of that. And again, I'm not condoning Scottie Pippen calling people racist, but I'm going to tell you what happens. And when you see, I know guys who have gone through these divorces, and it's not cool. You feel betrayed, especially when people start saying things to other people, especially people you like and trust, and all of a sudden you hear them divulging secrets from behind closed doors. I think, no doubt, I think Pippen's got a full ear of that. Then all of a sudden, Jordan comes out with this documentary that absolutely shows Scottie Pippen in a very bad light. Okay? In a very horrible light. Like he's soft, he cries. This all may be well and true. And by the way, that's how I perceived him back in the day, was that exact way. I perceived him that way. And everyone labeled him that. And it's been a couple decades since his last games have been played. And Pippen has really done a nice job to kind of build up his reputation. But within the last 2 days, he's reminded everybody of why people had a bad impression of him. Now, let me get to why I think he's in this road and he's on this stage here and what's happened. I just mentioned to you about his divorce. It wasn't very good. All of a sudden, you have Michael Jordan starting to go. And remember that line that says, what's said in the locker room stays in the locker room? Well, you have a wife, an ex-wife, who's saying things about Pippen and his mannerisms and the ways and the things that he does. And she didn't care about the Pippen name. All of a sudden, now you have Michael Jordan taking people inside the locker room and saying things about Scottie. Scottie probably had to do this after a while. Why am I loyal to these people? Why are these people are saying all these horrific things about me? And I think Scottie Pippen has an absolute bad taste right now, and he wants revenge. And when you want revenge, you're not thinking clearly. Revenge is like ego. And, you know, when you have an ego, it can bring the worst out of you. I think when you've had so many people portraying you over the last 10 years, you got to get to a point when you've had enough and you're fed up. Do you not agree? That last dance last year put Scottie in the light. And you know what's crazy about it, though? Michael Jordan, numerous times, has come out and said, none of this is possible without Scottie Pippen. But Jordan was just telling everyone how Scottie was as a player and how he handled himself. And everyone that I remember covering the Bulls teams back then, and I did remember Pippen in that light. You see, Scottie never saw himself in that light. You know, sometimes self-awareness and self-evaluation, sometimes people have the hardest. What is the hardest thing to do for any athlete or any beauty queen or anybody to come to grips with? You got to look in the mirror and go, I don't have my looks anymore, or I don't have my skill set anymore, or maybe I am like that. Nobody likes to come to grips with, hey, I know who I am. I know what went on. But get this, just like I tell you about topics that we all throw out, sometimes those topics don't land where we want them to land. Scotty sees himself in a different light than how Michael Jordan saw him. Scotty probably saw himself as an equal and contemporary. He doesn't like to be called a Robin. Because how many times has Michael Jordan said he made this all happen for us? Well, when you hear that, isn't that a contemporary comment? So now that people have labeled him that, and by the way, I've said this before, it's easy for me to say, hey, I wouldn't mind being Pippen, but when you're in it and you're winning it with him like that, was Pippen the more complete player? I don't think so. Was Pippen a better defender? I don't think so. But Scotty probably saw himself in the same light and as a contemporary and equal of Jordan's, which we all know wasn't true. But here, let me give you another example. How many times do you watch like American? You know what my favorite part of American Idol is? The auditions. You know how a guy gets up there and he sings and he swears he's nailing the note. And all of a sudden the judges go, that's just not good enough. And do you see the face and you're like, what do you mean it's not good enough? How many times have you watched those auditions and you're told reality by professional singers or professional producers, dude, that's just not good enough. You'd be lucky to be a lounge act at a Holiday Inn somewhere. And I've heard people say that, right? You're like, you're just not good enough. You're not going to Hollywood. And those people are devastated because they've been told the truth. Scotty hasn't had that conversation yet with himself, and nor has anybody told him, look, dude, you were great, but you weren't Jordan. Combine that with the betrayal. Scotty had an avalanche fall on his shoulders. And so now he wants revenge with this book that's coming out. And so is he making lies up? I don't know if they're lies, but I can guarantee you this. He's over-exaggerating these. To watch this. Should Pippen have been the guy who takes the last shot when Jordan was no longer on the team and Jordan was, that 2 years with baseball? Probably. But to throw racism into it, wouldn't you have to say this? To throw racism into it is to sell books, right? Remember, you're pimping a book that's coming out. So you're in full cocktail mode where you're trying to sell something. And you're trying to go out and make sure that you're able to make this thing as juicy as you possibly can. So when you call Phil Jackson a racist and you turn around and say that Michael Jordan was one of the most selfish people he's ever been around, that's going to make people sit up and maybe buy your book. That's where I think this whole thing is. Get this. When's the last time we talked about Scottie Pippen being relevant in sports? Do you remember? I don't. I don't remember. Jordan will always be relevant. Why? His shoe brand. We see it every day. Watch this. Chris O, how many items do you have with the Jordan logo in your house? Okay. How about this one? You may not know the exact number. Do you have a Jordan logo in your house with some item, a shirt, a pair of sneakers? In a video game, okay? I can tell you this. In my house, I probably have around 30 items that have the Jordan logo. Shoes, sneakers. We see that guy's image every day. Jordan's relevant every single day. I'm watching the game tonight. I'm watching guys wearing Jordan sneakers. He'll always be relevant. Nike made him that way. Scottie Pippen's not relevant. So Scotty wants revenge right now. Yeah, right. Who? And this guy's no owl sitting on a tree limb, crapping through feathers. Okay, I mean, we haven't spoken Scottie Pippen's name in a long time. Now he's pimping a book, and now he wants revenge. This is where I think he's coming from. But like I said, to open my show, would you end a friendship to sell a book? Doesn't that just show you how creepy the guy is? Yeah, go ahead, man. Yes. 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 Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. All right, folks. Hey, do me a favor. Go over to, if you want to buy headphones, this is your place, podcasterwarehouse.com. Our good friends there will make it very simple for you. 25% off of everything that is on the website. Use the promo code Sileo, S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. That's S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. And like I said, 25% off, free shipping. You can spend as much as $5 to $5,000. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. I will hit on the Pro Football Focus. I want to hit on that. We'll do it next. You keep it around the Sileo Show. Yeah, but you give it to that bitch called Godzilla. Oh, really? It's a worm. I like it. No, we have a guy on our island called Kong Freud. And he is, third generation too, by the way. No, Kongman was his dad. He's called Kongi. So you think they should throw her off the team? I was alive. Yeah, I was born in 63. That happened in 68. Actually, you want to hear something? I asked George Foreman that today, and I said, George, is that why you waved the flag in the squared circle because of what Carlos and Smith did? He goes, those guys did that on their own. Nobody knew they were going to do that. I just wanted everyone to know how proud I was to be an American. I love this country, and I still love this country. George got heat for that, though. He was called an Uncle Tom after that. George goes, I don't care. I love it. The worst guy you could ever call. This guy was from the streets of Houston. The Jesus Channel. I know what it is. Oh, right. Evangelist.
Here's the definition of evangelist.
Yes, game 3 of the NHL Finals will be on the Evangelist channel. Who's that guy in Dallas? It's got the odds in that. What's that guy? I can't think of his name. He's got one of the biggest followings. Is Is it Tilton? The Tilton broadcast. That dude's got a great following, by the way. No ripping anybody on that. The guy's got a great following. I mean, millions and millions. Joel Osteen. That's it. The Joel Osteen Network. Game 3 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. This guy's got his own satellite. The Joel Osteen channel. Bow your heads. We're going to drop the puck here. Give it to Joel, man. That guy, man, he's got millions. Are you thinking? He goes, Chris Osenmeyer going, are you thinking of Joel Osteen? Oh, you okay? Good. Yes, thank you. I had to get my evangelist Dakota ring out. I don't know. I only know the guy with the hat in Rome. Man, I actually like that Pope Francis too, man. He's awesome. You ever see what he does too? He gets out, like you'll be driving and like there'll be people along the roads and he just gets out of the car and he goes over and talks to the people. By the way, no Mercedes, no BMWs, none of that stuff, man. I love this guy. It's supposedly like he sneaks out of the Vatican and he goes into the impoverished areas and he goes there and washes like people's feet. And yeah, they got commercialized. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, oh. I saw that one too. I cried. How don't you like this guy? I mean, I saw both those situations, and I when I Googled that the first time, you're right. I think it was in Italy that they had that girl on the gurney there. I think it may be Italy or France. And she was there, and all of a sudden the Pope stopped the car. He gets out of this small car, and he goes over, and like he blesses her, and she's got cerebral palsy, and you're like this. I don't know, man. I just brought a tear to my eye, and I remember the one in New Jersey, too, that he did that, too. Oh, I remember. Me, too. The Pope did. The Pope did. He did. He hugged the kid. I know. He blessed the father, and Pope Francis is, I would say this to you, man. You know, I had a chance to do something years and years ago, Chris. I was an altar boy at Yankee Stadium when Pope Paul came to, because our church went to, we were picked because of our church, of our diocese. So we had a chance to go, and we were like, we were like bearers there for the Pope, and we were going around giving communion, and it was at Yankee Stadium. It was about 50 of us that went. It was one of the coolest things I had ever gone to. And he was cool. But this Pope is probably the best Pope. And like you said, I'm not trying to like tell you about Catholics and Protestants. And I'm just saying this guy's a really cool dude, man. Millionaires crying. Never going to sell that to the public, are you? Especially when you got people that go to work every single day and get up off their ass to try to put a roof over their kids' heads and their wives' heads and try to come out of this pandemic. Absolutely. That's why millionaires and billionaires bitching about cash never translates. It never does. All right. More on this Aaron Rodgers story, and make no mistake about it. this story between Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen is going to continue to grow. We'll reset. Love that you're with us. Please keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. I know. The one in Jersey and the one in the girl in France was just remarkable. Yep. Just think about that for a second, Chris. You and I watched the same thing. I saw the kid. My father didn't believe in God, and I watched that, and the father still blessed him. Oh, I cry over Pope Francis. I love him. I follow him on Twitter too. Yeah. Oh my God, you're kidding me. That's pretty cool. All right, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow, brother. You bet. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.